There's been a lot to be frustrated about on Twitter recently, and I know Twitter's not real world, but I am
No.
so sick of. So I'm a banking reporter who has to cover fintech now, which means that I have to expose myself
to cover fintech. You get to cover it. It's amazing.
I have to. I have to. I read a lot more about fintech and VC types than I maybe did a year ago, and I am really, really sick of fintech founders and VC types publicly indicating how ignorant they were about the banking industry, which is the space they ostensibly claimed to disrupt.
Yes.
And I have no idea how much hubris you have to have if you want to disrupt banking and you do not understand what I would consider basic banking concepts. And I feel really bad for everyone who's involved in the painful and sad fintech bankruptcy case. But if you thought FDIC insurance would cover the fact that you don't have access to your money because one of your key partners who facilitated money movement and disintermediation is in bankruptcy, I can't help you. And yes. I can also, I have no patience. You should not be in this industry if you do not understand this industry. And I get that this stuff is really boring. I get you think banks are boring. And I would just really encourage you to not mess around with banks then, because if you don't want to know about the history, if you don't want to learn about the law, if you don't want to learn about how the charter works, if you don't want to learn how FDIC insurance works, you don't need to work in banking. There's just a lot of other spaces that are less regulated and could benefit from financial, better user experience or some type of account or whatever value these fintechs claim to bring to the industry. But I just don't need the lack of curiosity and the deeply unserious approach that then is shown so painfully when something bad happens. If you don't if you don't want to do this, if you don't want to learn about it, don't be in this space. And I also get that there's this hashtag not all fintechs response, but I also think that's deeply unserious and irresponsible. I hope, I think that the industry, I hope that other fintechs that did take learning about banking seriously are offended by some of these fintech founders and VCs not knowing regular stuff about the industry. And I don't want to make it personal, but I've got screenshots. I make fun of some of these guys on Twitter, right? There's a VC who got, 16,000 views talking about how there needs to be a national license for banking as a service. And I was like, bro, where were you in 2019? Pay attention or shut your mouth, So that's my rant.
That's a good one. I very much agree. If you're not into bank nerd stuff, well, first, you're not listening to this podcast. And second, go work in a different industry. AI is hot. Go screw around with AI stuff. Don't work in financial services if you can't. Think about worst case scenarios. Think about strategies to manage the risk of worst case scenarios and learn your history about how all this stuff works, because for the most part, it works the way it does for very good reasons. So, Kiah, that was a magnificent rant. We will let you go, but look forward to doing this again next month. And as always, thank you for nerding out.
All right.